morning and welcome to the Scottish Highlands. It's a very kind of miserable, bleak, rainy day today, but a bit like the saying, there's no such thing as bad weather, only the wrong clothing. I believe the same is true for photography. There's no such thing as bad weather, only the wrong location. And on a day like today where it's really miserable and wet, I often find coming into Woodlands is a fantastic place to come to do photography. And yesterday when I was driving up to where I'm staying at the moment, I decided to go for a little walk through this woodland here because it was en route. I'd never heard of it before, never been before. I just saw a sign to woodland walks and I thought I'll go. And to my surprise, when I got here, I've discovered all these trees just completely covered in mosses, and there's a very mythical, magical feel to this place. And when I saw the weather forecast for today, I thought, where better do you want to be than a woodland full of mosses, lichens and all this greenery. It just looks amazing in the damp, wet conditions. So despite it being mid-morning, I'm here and I'm super excited to see what I can discover, because I'm off to try and photograph some of these really interesting trees with the moss covered branches, and some of them are in incredible shapes, and I'm just so excited to see what I can capture. So let's go exploring. This place is amazing. Now I have to say that yesterday when I came here I literally just walked around the route really quickly, but despite that I still found some really interesting compositions and trees that really spoke to me. But today, now that I've come back specifically for photography, literally almost every tree is speaking to me. There is so many interesting shapes, patterns, textures, colours going on in this woodland. I just don't know where to start. It's probably the first woodland I've ever been to where there's just opportunities everywhere, and I genuinely do not know where to begin. Like I say, I could photograph almost every tree here. It's just insane. I think it's going to be a very long day, but I'm excited, really excited actually, to see what I can capture. And I think I'm going to begin with this tree behind me here. Things always look good in threes. We've got the two sides here, but it's this V shape or Y shape in the middle that's really drawing me in. So let's get set up and get a photograph. Because there's so much in this woodland that's interesting me today, I thought a really good thing to do really is for me to just talk you through what I'm doing with this photograph here, and then go off and take a number of images that's interesting me, because if I sit down and speak you through all of them, this video is going to be hours long. But what I wanted to do really is to talk you through two things that I'm doing today, because they're a little bit different to what you'd normally see me doing in my seascape photography. And the first one is the aperture that I'm using. So because I'm in a woodland and it's quite dense and there's a lot of trees everywhere, one thing I'm wanting to do is to use a small aperture value. So today I'm using f5.6, and what that's allowing me to do is to ensure the trees that are interesting me are pin sharp, but the background around them are a little bit blurred, which is allowing them to really stand out amongst the woodland scene. So that's the first thing that I'm doing a little bit differently today. And the second thing, as you'll notice, is that my central column of my tripod is right up. And again, I don't normally do this, only a few times have I ever done this in the past. But the reason for that today is because I want to completely eliminate the sky from my photographs. So I'm sure many of you have seen woodland shots taken during the day with some sky in the image, and you'll find that the sky, as you can kind of see behind me here, is really blown out and white within the photographs, which always looks really messy and not very interesting. So by raising my central column all the way up, it's allowing me to slightly position my camera down the way, which is allowing me to eliminate all the sky from my image so that I don't have those blown out areas. So that's the two kind of different kind of things I'm doing today that I wanted to speak you through, because I'd imagine that potentially those are things that some of you may ask me why I've done them in the comments below. So that's the two reasons. Because the woodland is really wet today and there's just a lot of moisture in the air, by using a polarizer it's allowing me to really bring out the saturated colours in the mosses and allow for these really vibrant green colours, and also a little bit of orangey tones to the bark itself. And I'm just loving the effect it's having. It's just adding so much more to these images, and like I say, bringing out that saturation, which is so nice. So that's another tip there if any of you are wanting to do woodland photography on rainy days. Polarizer can completely transform your images. I am absolutely loving this, like genuinely, this is so exciting. I never thought I'd get so excited for woodland photography, but yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. And like I was saying earlier, it's often quite good to eliminate the sky from your images when you're shooting woodland photography, but there's some trees, like this one behind me here, that actually look so much better as you tilt up to the sky and get a little bit of sky in, having that nice almost diffused light coming through the canopy. And I wanted to speak you through this shot here, because if I had shot it as I'd originally intended to, having a landscape orientation of the bottom of this tree, it would have looked like this, which is a bit flat, boring and disinteresting. But as I start to pan up, you'll see that the interesting branches really start to formulate in this image and reach up to the sky, and it's just a much more interesting, captivating and dynamic image. I just love it. This tree is incredible. There's something so cool about trees like this, with all the spindly little branches and the moss coming off of them. They just look so mythical and magical. And being able to point the camera up and utilise these big branches reaching down over the forest, it's just an interesting way to capture a tree. I'm loving it. These trees are incredible. What a location this is. I never thought I'd see the day when I would say this, but I'm really disappointed that it stopped raining. It stopped, I don't know, about 40 minutes ago now, and it's gradually been getting sort of lighter and lighter as the clouds are beginning to break and roll away. So I went back to my car in the hope that taking a little bit of a break we'd get another band of rain coming through, because it was meant to rain on and off all morning today and into the mid-afternoon. So it's only about 11 o'clock now and it's nice and calm and dry, which is a little bit disappointing, I have to say, because it's allowing a lot more light to stream into the woodland and it's disappearing, you know, that nice atmospheric, saturated, dark, gloomy, mystical feel is starting to disappear. So I'm really hoping that another band of rain is going to come through in the next half an hour or so. Yeah, I'm just walking around now trying to find some more trees to photograph and praying that the rain will start again. What a stunning place though. I'm telling you, I'm having a fantastic morning today, and it's so good to be able to get out you know, during the day and not have to stick to kind of sunrises or sunsets. And that's something that I love about the Scottish Highlands, as opposed to many other parts of Scotland, which are often you only get really good shots, you know, at sunrise or sunset. The good thing about the Highlands is that the variety of weather and landscapes and the kind of atmosphere that you get up here, the climate you get up here, allows you to get out at all times of the day to do photography. And yeah, it's just so refreshing to be out at 11 o'clock in the morning and coming away with some images that I'm pretty happy with. Oh, I've just found a tree that I like. Let's take some more shots. My main purpose today was of course to capture the beautiful mossy trees, but I've just taken a shot here that has appeared totally by fluke. So I was trying to shoot this tree here, which is an interesting curvature. It's got this lovely bit here and these lovely branches. And I thought it just looked a little bit like a mythical creature with a face, and I loved it. But I just panned my camera around to here, and what I discovered was, I can't really see it with my eye to be honest, but it's so clear on camera. There's these two really interesting trees here with a bit of moss on them jutting out over this gorge, and then we've got this darker tree to one side and these other darker trees to the other side, but they're all different species of trees, and because you've got these two nice silvery green ones in the middle, you've got this really nice symmetrical image with these lovely two green trees in the middle framed by these darker trees around it, and it's got a really interesting pattern to it. I'm really not sure if I'm going to like this shot when I get home. I imagine when I start editing it that it might not look quite the way that I'm seeing it just now on the back of the camera and envisaging it. But it's just more the patterns and the textures, and by using that low F number and blurring out most of the distracting woodland behind these prominent trees, it's just given it a really interesting effect. So yeah, I think today's just been so interesting. I love it when you come to a location and have your mind set on certain images and then you end up just adapting to the light and seeing other photographs. Literally everywhere I go in this woodland I'm seeing another tree that interests me. It's amazing. I might even have to come back here again before the week is out because I just love this spot so much. The rain has now started again, but it's still really bright, like much brighter than it was when I arrived. But to be fair, I've walked around here twice now, I've taken a number of photographs, and I'm really hoping that some of them I'm happy with. I think for somebody that's not used to woodland photography, I think I'm really happy actually with how this morning has gone. This location is so inspiring. It's a very short walk, but the amount of variety and the trees are just incredible. So yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed this morning. I hope you've enjoyed being here with me, and I may come back here again before my week is over. I'm up in the Highlands for a week staying with the lovely Margaret Soraya. Some of you may know her. She's quite a well-known landscape photographer up here in Scotland. She mostly photographs Harris, Lewis, Orkney and Loch Ness. But yeah, I'm up staying in her Airbnb this week and doing a lot of travelling around the centre of the Highlands with her. So I'm off back to hers just now for some lunch, and then we're heading out this afternoon together to some other locations. But yeah, it's just so nice to be allowed out again, as I've already said, and come to new locations. As always, I want to say a huge thank you for watching, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you all again next time.